Good morning. It's Wednesday, July 17th. Donald Trump has chosen a running mate. He has chosen Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his vice presidential running mate. And Trump made a couple of nice comments about J.D. Vance, including the fact that he was a tremendous talent. So based upon that, Donald claimed that Vance was his man because of the great state of Ohio. It happens to be one of the major swing states in this country. Let us not forget the importance of swing states. So that, I am sure, entered into Donald's decision. Now, Vance is a young man. He's only 39 years old. He won his Senate seat in 2022 with Trump's backing. And he will be one of the youngest vice presidents in U.S. history if they win the election. But before he became a fierce ally and defender of Trump, Vance sharply criticized him. Because during the 2016 presidential election, Vance wrote that he goes back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical a-hole, like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad even though he could prove useful, or even that he might be America's Hitler. So that was a statement that Vance made. And let's look at Vance, because he's a relatively new politician. He hasn't been in office for more than 2 years. But after he made those statements, recently his thinking has changed. He has sounded a different tone, including defending Trump's actions leading up to and during the J6 attack on the Capitol. Vance was critical of Vice President Mike Pence handling the 2020 election results. So I am sure that that became a big factor in the choice of Vance, because Vance is now spouting Donald Trump's theories. He went so far as to claim that Democratic political rhetoric was tied to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. He's claiming that the central premise of the Biden campaign is that Donald Trump is a fascist who must be stopped at all costs. And he puts that out on X shortly after the shooting. And he is claiming in those posts that the rhetoric led directly to the attempted assassination of ex-President Trump. But we know that the shooter supposedly was a registered Republican. And he had done some other things before getting these guns and attempting to shoot. I don't think that this young man watched anything associated with what Biden was doing to make his decision to attack President Trump. According to what I read about that young man, he was involved in some left-wing causes and some right-wing causes. He was a confused adolescent. So Vance is incorrect in pointing a finger at that kid as if he was a paid assassin. But let me get back to Mr. Vance's views, because his views align very closely with Donald Trump's. They have similar views on trade, on immigration, and on foreign policy. And Mr. Vance is particularly critical of continued U.S. support for Ukraine. So that makes him the perfect partner for Donald Trump's run to the presidency. Donald feels that he will leave somebody in the office that will follow his philosophy. And I'm not sure anyone can follow Donald's philosophy because it changes with the wind, as we saw during his presidency, when at first he was doing something about the pandemic, then he was doing something else about the pandemic. He changed his mind 3 or 4 times and denied every change. But Vance had the same characteristics. As soon as he became his new running mate, he has backed away from his earlier stance against allowing women who are victims of or incest having access to abortions. He switched on that policy as soon as he becomes a running mate, or as soon as he becomes in contention to be a running mate. Not a man of great conviction from what I could see. And so Trump has all these campaign promises that he's going to attempt in his governing for the second term. Across-the-board tariffs, a pledge to deport tens of millions of undocumented migrants. There will be an aggressive realignment of the federal bureaucratic workforce. And Vance's pick is further evidence that Trump has doubled down on Trumpism. This is more than conjecture, because Vance has said, in my view, Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party, and his views on abortion are going to be the views that dominate the party and drive this party forward. So he asked, that was the answer to the question he was asked about being in complete agreement with the former president. So it's obvious to me and to others who have watched Vance take up his position that he will do whatever Trump tells him to do, and that he has no thoughts of his own. And if he does, he will be hiding them all the time that he is working for Trump. And so I disagree with the fact that anybody who is in any position of power must toe the line all the time. They must feel free to give their opinion. They don't have to agree 100% with the leader. That's not what democracy is about. If you have an opinion that's important, you must be able to state it. But that is not the way Trump will govern, and that is not the way that Vance sees his job. So we once again will have a mess at the top in this country, and let's hope it doesn't happen. Have a great day. Bye.